So, hi guys. So we're gonna share perspectives on what we talked about all this week on Legacy, which was generally theme of natural leadership. So there's lots of perspectives shared. Anyone learn anything new? You notice anything for yourself or from other people's perspectives?
Interestingly, I worked on it for myself about letting other people, like feeling them that how helpful it is to let other people lead themselves.
And what did you just like what do you do? How do you do that?
It was more about like having an impulse to do something myself and then realizing that I needed to include more people in it.
Yeah.
And like, how do you get more people involved in something you feel like needs to be done?
That's a cool one. I was actually exploring almost like the opposite spectrum of realizing like there are times I'm waiting for some sort of arrival of like a leader. I'm like and I know the kind of leader that I want to arrive. And then I was like, what would it be like if I asked myself if I could be that? And just immediately it brings up all the different things I'm afraid of and all the things. Like until then it's easy to be like, oh, this is what's needed, and then, well, can you provide it? That's my internal response. And it doesn't necessarily feel natural immediately, but it is natural for me to immediately be like, oh, this is what would be nice from someone else.
I mean, for me, this whole subject of leadership ties in with one of my hobbies, which is ballroom dancing. When two people are dancing, of course, there's a person who's leading and the other person is following. And I remember years ago, one of my instructors telling me that the best way to lead somebody in dance is to lead yourself. Because what happens is so many times as a leader, if I'm focused on what I want the other person to do and all my attention is on that, then things don't work out well, right? What I need to do is put my attention on myself and what it is I am doing, what I need to do, and then the other person quite naturally will do the right thing. And I bring all of this up because I wrote, for example, something that I was involved in with a group of other people yesterday, and I was expecting somebody else to take the lead, and nobody else was doing that. And I realized, okay, I simply need to lead myself. I mean, this very much relates to the whole matter of personal responsibility. Instead of waiting for somebody else to do something, learn to lead yourself.
I wonder if leadership would even be like a thing that's discussed in the universe of another, if personal responsibility was like a baseline that everyone agreed on. Maybe it would just be roles that we take on, step in, step out, like sort of like that geese formation, where like one gets in front and then and then another one, and or like bikes when a race is happening. I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
Something about the immediacy of the situation as well. Because I was thinking about the situation I was talking about earlier. Part of why I wanted other people to get involved was because there's a time limit on when this will be important, because somebody is not going to be here. So you have to get involved before they go. And so I can feel how that really increases people's motivation, I don't know, maybe willingness to step up and lead. And you see that in like emergencies, people just step up and do things.
I wonder if that's Derek, you were going to say something.
I know. I just really, Michael, I really like that. I'm really struck by that description because I think it is real common for me to try and see what other people are doing and have opinions about what other people are doing, and less clarity on my own. I mean, it's very cool. I mean, I think like, because you can, like, when there's something about confidence that when I know what I'm doing, I think people can feel it. When somebody knows what they're doing, it's like it becomes intuitive for others. And so I really like that.
I like Tim's example of like in an emergency, people just step up. I think it shows that like we are natural leaders, but I wonder if like it doesn't happen in like regular times because we like stop to think too much about it or something, rather than, as you said, in an emergency, you sort of just have to jump in and do something. And so your natural leadership comes out then. But yeah, maybe if we've got too much time to sort of like analyze and think about it, then it's not so natural or something.
What that makes me think of is what's needed is very apparent in times of crisis, but I think like I mean, I'm really, that begs the question of like what determines what's needed. It feels like there's something more subtle, or it depends on the intention. But I think cultivating the awareness of what's needed is a real interesting to kind of feel that alignment towards something more regularly.
Yeah. When we sense what's wanted and needed by other people, it just naturally propels us to do something to meet that need. And oftentimes that involves simply accepting some leadership role. So it's not like that you're going out of your way to seek leadership out of ego or something like that, but because you see there's something that's wanted and needed and nobody else is there to provide it. And so you say, okay, I'll accept the responsibility.
You know what I was feeling like, Derek, when you were saying, the confidence when you know what you're doing. I was thinking about type 4 living, right? Living deliberately with an attitude of type 4. You can't exactly know what you're doing in an unknown, so it's almost like, I mean, maybe you can, but it's more like it's an intuitive step-by-step process. You just step into, I don't know, and then another, I don't know. And then you can be confident in stepping in and not confident. And I think there's something about that natural leadership. Like when I see kids that are just sort of naturally born leaders, they just go do stuff, and it's not always effective or anything, but they're just like, I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to do that. And the confidence is just the willingness to jump in the unknown rather than to prepare. And I can feel that in the situations where it's crisis or something, like I won't go, okay, I'm going to just, figure out and see if I can learn what I'm doing. I'll just jump. But in other situations, I'm like, well, you have time to prepare, so why don't you just hang back? So that makes me think about, how do we
It's like
really develop leadership in that situation,
Yeah, it's like you have no attention on failing.
Right. Yeah, that's a cool thought. Like no attention on failing. I like that a lot. Yeah. Interesting. Well, anyone else has any last thoughts around this?
Yeah, for me, it's the that looking at not, if I don't have a sense of what's wanted and needed, to be more curious about that. Because I think like it's like what's missing, or what's the, what am I not, is there something I'm not paying attention to? I think I have this inclination like I'm supposed to invent something, but I think that there's a different kind of feel towards, what's wanted and needed to kind of gravitate to something. And that's just that I have a lot of curious about that all of a sudden.
Yeah,
A
that
lot of
is
curiosity.
really fun direction. Maybe we'll do the thought storm around it in some way, shape, or form, because it is really interesting. What's wanted and needed is sort of depends on which angle you're looking at from, and what you're, if there's a result, or if it's just like naturally we know, it's interesting to think about. Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Let's do the thought storm now.